Welcome back to Life in Stereo. Today we journey through time, exploring the most influential albums from the 1960s to the 2000s. These are the records that didn't just shape music, they shaped history. Keep in mind that these albums only begin to scratch the surface of the numerous groundbreaking recordings over the last 50 years. So tell us in the comments below what albums you think forged a new path in the musical landscape. And while you're at it, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get more great content and help out our channel. Let's jump in. 1967 was a year of musical revolution, epitomized by the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Released at the peak of the psychedelic era, Sgt. Pepper was more than an album. It was an auditory experience that blended rock, classical, and music hall traditions into a genre-defying symphony. Its groundbreaking production techniques, multi-track recording, and integration of unconventional instruments like the sitar and mellotron, each track offered something radically new. The album's opener, with its crowd noises and orchestral warm-up, immediately transports the listener to a surreal concert by the fictional Sgt. Pepper Band. This concept album was one of the first to weave songs into a narrative thread. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds showcased innovative tape loop effects, while A Day in the Life featured an orchestral crescendo that redefined musical possibilities. The cover itself, a vivid collage of historical figures, became an iconic piece of pop art, reflecting the album's deep cultural impact. Equally transformative was Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, released in 1966. Brian Wilson's intricate symphonic arrangements and emotional depth pushed popular music to new heights of artistic credibility. Songs like Wouldn't It Be Nice and God Only Knows pioneered a new level of the studio as an instrument, inspiring countless musicians to experiment with sound in ways previously unimaginable. These albums did more than captivate audiences. They shifted the cultural landscape, influencing everything from fashion to social attitudes. The notion of an album as a cohesive, unified piece of art was born here in the studios of the 1960s, setting the stage for decades of musical innovation. The 1970s was a decade of incredible musical diversity and innovation. It kicked off with Led Zeppelin IV, released by Led Zeppelin in 1971. This album epitomizes the adventurous spirit of the era, blending hard rock with elements of folk and blues. Featuring Stairway to Heaven, it not only becomes a cultural and musical touchstone, but also sets new standards for musical composition with its intricate guitar work and mythical lyrics. Just 2 years later, in 1973, Pink Floyd released Dark Side of the Moon, a monumental achievement in music history. The album's seamless integration of rock, jazz, and avant-garde electronica, coupled with profound themes of despair, time, and madness, deeply resonates with audiences worldwide. Innovative use of experimental recording techniques, such as multi-track recording and tape loops, and pioneering the use of synthesizers like the VCS-3, cemented its place as one of the best-selling albums of all time. In 1977, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac addressed raw emotions of love, betrayal, and heartbreak. Created amidst personal turmoil among band members, it captures these emotions with candid and introspective lyrics and masterful production, turning personal strife into a universally relatable and enormously successful record. It defines the soft rock genre with timeless classics such as Go Your Own Way and Dreams. The decade closes with a seismic shift in rock music, heralded by the 1978 release of Van Halen. This debut album introduces Eddie Van Halen's revolutionary guitar techniques and spotlights Eruption, an instrumental solo that dramatically transforms rock guitar. His dazzling, finger-tapping technique brings high-speed tapping from the fringes to the mainstream, inspiring a new generation of guitarists and altering the sonic landscape of rock music towards a more technically challenging and thrilling future. The 1970s proved to be a hotbed of musical innovation. From the mystical rock of Led Zeppelin to the philosophical depths of Pink Floyd, the emotional rawness of Fleetwood Mac, and the electrifying energy of Van Halen, this decade reshaped the musical landscape, paving the way for future generations. The 1980s burst onto the music scene with an explosion of visual and sonic innovation, propelled by the advent of MTV and the burgeoning era of the music video. This decade was dominated by albums that not only captured the spirit of the times, but also reshaped the music industry. Michael Jackson's Thriller, released in 1982, shattered all sales records to become the best-selling album of all time. Beyond its commercial success, Thriller was a cultural phenomenon that transcended music genres and demographics. With a groundbreaking fusion of pop, rock, and R&B, it featured iconic tracks like Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It, each accompanied by revolutionary music videos that transformed MTV and music marketing. Jackson's ability to blend sharp musicality with spectacular visuals broke down racial barriers and set a new standard for artist-driven media. In 1987, U2 released The Joshua Tree, an album that captured the essence of the era's rock spirit with its anthemic sound and profound lyrical content. Addressing themes of spirituality, social injustice, and personal struggle, tracks like Where the Streets Have No Name and With or Without You not only topped international charts, but also cemented U2's status as a global rock phenomenon. The album's sound, characterized by its mix of traditional rock instruments and innovative electronic effects, offered a new template for rock music and propelled U2 to stadium-filling stature. Amidst the pop and rock dominance, 1986 brought a milestone in heavy metal with Metallica's Master of Puppets. As one of the most influential heavy metal albums of all time, Master of Puppets brought complexity and depth to the genre with its sophisticated song structures and lyrical exploration of control and manipulation. Tracks like Battery and the title track, Master of Puppets, are celebrated for their aggressive speed and precise musicianship, showcasing Metallica's ability to blend melodic depth with raw power. This album not only solidified Metallica's place in the metal pantheon, but also broadened the appeal of heavy metal worldwide, influencing a myriad of bands across various subgenres. The 1980s were a period of bold colors, bigger sounds, and broader visions, where music not only dominated the charts, but also expanded into new realms of artistic expression. From Michael Jackson's genre-defining pop to U2's anthemic rock and Metallica's groundbreaking metal, this era's legacy of pushing the limits of musical creativity left an indelible mark on the cultural fabric, paving the way for the eclectic and expansive styles of the future. As the musical tide turned in the 1990s, a new wave of raw and emotionally charged music emerged, epitomized by Nirvana's Nevermind. Released in 1991, Nevermind catapulted grunge from the underground to the forefront of global music culture. The album's explosive sound, characterized by its dynamic contrasts and Kurt Cobain's anguished vocals, struck a chord with an entire generation. Hits like Smells Like Teen Spirit became anthems of youth disillusionment and rebellion, challenging the then-dominant pop and hair metal scenes. Nevermind not only revolutionized the music industry by bringing grunge to the masses, but also influenced a host of bands to adopt a more sincere, less polished approach to music. The 1990s also saw the rise of alternative rock and hip-hop, with albums like The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and Radiohead's OK Computer defining the latter part of the decade. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, released in 1998, blends R&B, hip-hop, and reggae, tackling themes of love, motherhood, and empowerment. Lauryn Hill's raw lyrical content and soulful delivery led to widespread critical acclaim and a redefinition of what popular music could convey. Meanwhile, Radiohead's OK Computer, released in 1997, stands as a seminal album that delved into themes of alienation and technological angst. Its innovative soundscapes, combining rock with electronic music, set new standards for musical experimentation and thematic depth, influencing countless artists and genres in its wake. The 1990s were a decade of profound musical shifts, where the gritty realism of grunge, the introspective lyrics of alternative rock, and the socio-political commentary of hip-hop reshaped the soundscape of popular music. This era not only challenged the aesthetic and thematic boundaries of the past, but also set the stage for the eclectic developments in music that would follow in the new millennium. As we entered the new millennium, the music industry was transformed by the digital revolution. This era saw the rise of file sharing, digital downloads, and eventually streaming, fundamentally changing how music was consumed and shared. Amidst this technological upheaval, Radiohead's Kid A, released in 2000, stands out as a pioneering work that embraced and utilized new production techniques to its full extent. Breaking away from their rock roots, Radiohead ventured into an avant-garde mix of electronic music, ambient soundscapes, and jazz elements. Kid A challenged traditional notions of what a rock album could be, both in its sound and its release strategy, famously being one of the first albums to leverage internet marketing to reach fans directly. In contrast, Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP, also released in 2000, captured another facet of the era's cultural landscape. This album offered a raw, introspective look into the personal and professional life of Eminem, marked by its controversial lyrics and exploration of themes such as fame, mental health, and societal issues. The Marshall Mathers LP not only solidified Eminem's place as a critical figure in hip-hop, but also spoke to a broader narrative of personal struggle and resilience, resonating with a wide audience and influencing countless artists in the genre. The decade also witnessed the emergence of other influential genres and artists, with the rise of indie rock bands like The Strokes and the continued evolution of pop with artists like Beyoncé, who blended R&B, pop, and soul to redefine modern female artistry and performance. The 2000s were marked by a significant expansion of musical diversity and a deep integration of digital technology, which reshaped the music industry's landscape forever. From Radiohead's electronic experiments to Eminem's introspective rap, this decade broadened the horizons of what music could represent and achieve, setting the stage for the even more personalized and globally connected music culture of the future. As we reflect on the journey through the most influential albums of the last half-century, we see a vivid tapestry of innovation, emotion, and revolution. From the experimental sounds of the 1960s with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Pet sounds, through the transformative rock of the 1970s with Led Zeppelin IV, Dark Side of the Moon, and others, to the cultural anthems of the 1980s in Thriller and The Joshua Tree, each album marked a pivotal moment in musical history. The 1990s brought raw, introspective energy with Nevermind and expanded the boundaries of genre with The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and OK Computer. As we moved into the 2000s, albums like Kid A and the Marshall Mathers LP reflected and influenced the seismic shifts in the music industry driven by the digital revolution. These albums didn't just define their respective eras, they shaped the cultural landscape, influenced future generations of artists, and changed the way we think about music itself. They remind us that music is not just sound. It's a reflection of human experience, a form of expression that transcends time and space, continually evolving with each beat, note, and lyric. Thank you for joining us on Life in Stereo as we explored these monumental albums. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts on other albums that have shaped your musical world. Stay tuned for more deep dives into music history in our upcoming videos. Until then, keep rockin'.